understanding of what it's been like for women in sport. Though it appears women have made great strides in the sporting world, there are still many barriers and misanthropic attitudes that prevent them from reaching their full potential. Until I began preparing myself for my position as project coordinator for leadership advancement for women in sport, I did not know this. I had participated in sport my whole life, but somehow this reality was not my reality. I probably didn't want to see it, but deep down, I knew it was there. I ran track throughout my school years, and I continued to participate at the Masters over 30 level. As a high school and university competitor, some events were men only, such as triple jump, pole vault, and longer track distances. I hadn't really considered at that time that this was unfair. It was just the way it was. I was content with my events, sprints, hurdles, relay, and long jump, although occasionally I questioned why women weren't pole vaulting or triple jumping, but I did assume this would change, and it has, thank goodness. I think my state of mind had been formed partly because track and field in Canada was given a minuscule amount of government funding and attention, and unfortunately that is still the case today. It wasn't hockey, so who really cared? So if I was indignant, it was more because I had experienced firsthand that this inequality regarding my sport existed. Over the last few months, I began making a concerted effort to read the sports pages of my local paper, the Windsor Star, every day to learn about women in sport in my community. Normally, I avoided reading the sports section, as I was just not drawn to the hockey and football stories, the male sports that dominated the pages. I also began paying attention to the ratio of male versus female sports stories. And while I started noticing and appreciating the girls and women in the community who are making a name for themselves in every sport, and you see them here on the screen and in the books that my daughter Rosalie, who's here today, helped put together. She clipped articles from about 2 months worth of the Windsor Star. You can see that there are a lot of women who are making a name for themselves in every sport, including traditional male sports like boxing and weightlifting. In fact, Mary Spencer, who we are hoping is going to come today, maybe around 1:15, is going to most likely be attending the Olympic Games as part of the team, the first women boxing team going to the Olympic Games. First time the boxing is being introduced into the Olympics, so very excited about that. I also saw something else. There were days when the only females represented in the sports section were the girls in the strip club ads. I thought, hey, wait a minute, this is 2011. How could this be happening? With my eyes opening, I started noticing inequalities regarding women in sport in other forms of media. And it didn't take me long before I stumbled on something that shocked and dismayed me. A story I found online about Margot Didek, the world's tallest, at 7'2", female professional basketball player. Why was I shocked and dismayed? I was reading her obituary. She had died of a heart attack this May at the age of 37, and I had never even heard of her. Margot was the first player picked in the 1998 WNBA draft for the Utah Stars. She stayed with them until 2002, where she moved to another team, and she played for a number of other teams as well. She held the record for the number of blocks almost every year she played in the WNBA. She could dunk, of course, at that height, but she chose not to during games, so as not to humiliate her opponents. Not only was she an incredible athlete, she was a linguist. She spoke 5 languages, and she was a mother. When she died, she was pregnant with her 3rd child. I just cannot understand how it is possible that at some point during Margot's career, I hadn't read something about this extraordinary woman or seen her interviewed on TV. I included her picture in the presentation today because you can see how tall she is compared to one of the players. She was virtually the female counterpart to Michael Jordan or Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, yet only a small fraction of the population had even heard of her. I almost feel like crying right now. I'm sorry. I just get so emotional. So then I asked myself, why is it that female athletes do not receive the same kind of attention and support their male athletes do? It isn't hard to figure out that answer. There is no good reason. Extraordinary athletes like Margot may be the exception, but all girls and women, no matter what background or ability, deserve a chance to participate in sports or fitness activities they enjoy or excel in, and all should be fairly recognized for their accomplishments. Leadership Advancement for Women in Sports wants to play a role in facilitating a shift in society's perception of women athletes. The time for women athletes to be held back simply because they were born a female instead of a male is over. Thank you. And I want to just finish up by asking, I just want to mention that we have membership info if anybody wants to join LAWS. And we are going to be working on a number of initiatives throughout the year. We're going to be doing some fundraising events and hopefully another conference like the one that Sandra and Marge were talking about in Toronto. That'll be a nationwide conference to again address the issues that are still remaining and how people can fight and remove barriers. And if anybody has any questions at all, Marge and I would be happy to answer them for you. In fact, do you have